Kaya Mr. Chair, imitahin natin talaga dito yung Meta at saka yung Facebook. Kasi Mr. Chair, 180 days suspended yung aking Facebook account.
Thousands of tears later.
I cannot understand why do you take down an account due to impersonation. So how does it happen? So how you determine that really is this account is impersonated? Because this account was reported to COMELEC as my official election account for my daily activities during election.
Thank you, Madam Congressman. Mr. Chair, if I may. Madam Congressman, thank you for your question. Certainly impersonation is a violation of our community standards. And there, I can say that I don't know the specifics of your case, but let me talk about a little bit about how we try to deal with issues of impersonation, right? First of all, there can be a number of different reasons that an account might be taken down, right? There can be repeated violations of our community standards, or there can be very severe violations of our community standards. But other times, it can be because someone was able to, unfortunately, gain access to your account. Not your account, but anyone's account, right? It can happen that unauthorized access can take place, right? In those cases, they may, once a hacker has gained access to an account, then sometimes what we see is they go and delete the account, or then they take over that account to use it for their own purposes, and what we do in those cases is we work with the rightful account holder to retake control of their account, right? So we ask for credentials. It could be a government ID. It could be various email addresses or other identifying information that were used with that account in order to regain control of it. I think one thing we've seen and that we know is an extremely effective guard against having accounts taken over by hackers is two-factor authentication. Two-factor authentication is really the first line of defense that any user on Facebook, including members of Congress, have against their accounts being taken over. If you have two-factor authentication on, anytime someone would seek to make changes to your account, it would ping you to make sure that you're the right person and you're authorizing those changes. I would urge everyone to make sure they have two-fact turned on in their account. I think it's also worth noting that, for government officials, for politicians who are engaged in an election cycle, we have specific channels where we can work together. We have our Meta Support Pro channel that you can access and that we're happy to work with you to make sure you have access to, so that if you have specific issues with your account, other members of Congress, other people running for election can access those channels. I think it's also worth noting, and I didn't really mention this in my opening comments, but I think I should, that there are a number of different statutory agencies that have specific channels with Meta where they can report community standards violations, account hacks, and any other issues that the government is experiencing with Meta's platforms and our services. In fact, there are 11 different government agencies that have direct channels to us. And so those are other channels that can certainly be utilized in cases where members of Congress experience those types of actions. And I would just also say, it does also happen from time to time that we make mistakes. That is also something that happens, and we're sorry for when that happens. We know it's a really poor experience. We don't want that to happen. We take those instances very seriously. We do everything we can to try to minimize them. And so that's also just something that can happen sometimes.
So when my account was took down, we complained to we write to the Meta about my account, and then why is it that you are taking down specific account without explanation or without any justification to the subscriber? Like, for example, just take the account and that's it. So no explanation at all. So you will just explain if we will write to you on what happened to the account. So there's no, is there a like for example, due process in place in your platform?
Thank you for the question, Congressman, Mr. Chair, if I may. Madam Congresswoman, again, I'm not familiar with the specifics of your case, but I, again, can talk in general. Users should receive notifications if actions have been taken against their account. That is certainly part of the due process that we have in place, and users have a right of appeal. And in fact, when we see mistakes happen and users appeal those actions, the content in question, if it was a community standards violation, may often be restored. In some cases, the account would be restored. I do just want to highlight, in the specific case of hostile takeover of accounts, or what Meta believes may be a hostile takeover of an account, that can be a more complex process for very good reason. We want to make sure that we are not providing access to the account of someone who shouldn't have it. And so, Madam Congresswoman, I would just emphasize again that if you or another member of Congress is having any types of these issues, we can certainly provide you access to our Meta Support Pro and other channels so that we can solve these problems together.
Mr. Chair, may I ask also that, are you familiar with troll armies? Troll armies, or mass reporting of an account so that it could be taken down for any other reasons? Are you familiar with that? Because I'm suspecting that my personal account was a victim of that scheme by army trolls, or by a group who would like to take down my account. Because as I can see here in your process of checking the misinformation and disinformation, it would be, if it is mass reported, it goes to your AI, and then after that, human checking, right? Right? In your graph of how to determine the disinformation or violation of your community standards. So, so my question is, are you familiar with that scheme?
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Madam Congresswoman, coordinated mass reporting absolutely violates our policies. We have seen that type of behavior before and certainly if we detect that type of behavior, then we would seek to make sure that any decisions that are made about accounts are the correct ones. And then we would also try to go after the people who are engaged in the coordinated mass reporting, because that clearly does violate our policies. And that's the type of abusive network that we would seek to prohibit from utilizing our platforms.
Maging artista ka, anong genre ang magiging linya mo? Mas gusto ko yung yung parang informative na